It's time to shop hundreds of specials at Macy's, plus thousands of new markdowns in-store and online. Shop incredible specials like our fine jewelry clearance 65% off, sandals for her 50% off, save 60% on pillows and comforters, and Junior's dresses, rompers, and more are just $16.99 to $19.99. Or save 10 to 20% with your Macy's Carter Savings Pass. It's time to shop through June 25th at Macy's. Extra savings exclude specials, savings off sale prices, exclusions apply.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Welcome to Secular Soup. I'm Amy with a Y.
And I'm Amy with an I.
And we're just two blueberries floating in a bowl of tomato soup. Stay tuned for real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever the fuck else we want to talk about because this is our show. And get ready for a whole lot of motherfucking profanity. Buckle up, bitches. It's time to have some soup. Welcome. Right. That's the third time I've read that. How does it sound?
You did great. It sounds like you read it like 4 times at least.
It does. So it sounds like we're prepared for what we're doing right now, right?
We're
like professionals, and we know what we're doing, and we've been planning and just practicing. This is why we're going to start doing better than Tom and Cecil on Cognitive Dissonance.
Oh my God. Yeah.
For our enemies. So I'm really trying to get that feud going.
I know. I love it.
If you listen to Cogdis, they're the worst. We don't like them, and we're having a feud with them, and they know why. They know what they did. That's all I'm going to say.
It might have been during the summer, even. I don't know when they did it. It could be.
I don't. They did the thing, and they know what it is. So, at any rate, I'm Amy, and this is my co-host Amy. And
you only have to remember one name. It's super easy.
It's so easy, even though they're spelled 2 different ways, which gets complicated. But
I know.
That's how we're individuals.
One of them is wrong.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to explain the blueberry and tomato soup thing?
Sure.
To people?
Yeah, when I was talking to a friend about graphic design for the podcast logo, I was talking about our former name, which we no longer talk about. It's Voldemort.
Yeah. So it's a really good name, too.
It was the best name ever.
I know.
So good. Cannot be talked about. So I was talking about it, and she said, I just keep getting the visual of blueberries floating in tomato soup. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, the visual's great. And you think about it, it's like a little blue dot, meaning liberal or atheist or just something different floating in everything else around you is the same.
Yeah, and sea of red.
Right. Since we're both in very conservative states.
So where are you from, Amy? People might not know this yet if they haven't listened to our test recordings. Where do you live?
I haven't been on my computer trying to find...
So.
Okay.
No.
Well, I live in Texas. Yeah, I live in a rural-ish community in Texas, and it's a pretty conservative county, pretty conservative state, and I am not
conservative. I've only been there once. Is it a
Ted
conservative?
Cruz is our senator,
okay.
And he's very popular and beloved. He came to my city a couple months ago, and of course, the liberal women of our county protested him, but he's very well liked here.
He's got the most punchable face in America.
He looks like a frog to me.
Yeah.
Or a monster of some sort.
Yeah.
And so when I brought this idea to you, you said, hey, that's a great idea because you also live in a conservative area.
I do. I live in Minnesota, which is known as a blue state, which is kind of not true anymore. It
probably depends on where you live also.
Yeah, it's like pretty much any other state at this point. The metro areas are deep blue, and the rural areas are very red. So the area I live in is in what we call outstate Minnesota, which is anything that's not Minneapolis and St. Paul. We have very, very conservative legislators, and it's aggravating. I live in a town of about 13,000, so not tiny.
I have you barely beat. I'm in 20,000.
Really?
Barely beat.
We have 13, but then it's a tourist area, so in the summer, the population balloons to like 200,000. It's a very strange area. We have kind of a small town, but then everybody just So it's a small town, but we have like a Best Buy and a Costco and all the big, just because we have so many tourists that come here and have $1 million lake homes that they call cabins, but they're not cabins. They're $1 million lake homes. And so if you live here, like if you're an actual resident, you can't afford to live on a lake because all of the lake property has been swallowed up by rich people. So people think if you live in Minnesota, you must live on a lake. No, not unless you have a shit ton of money. If you're perfectly average like me, you do not live anywhere near a lake. So
I don't own a horse, so
really,
no, I do
you
not.
at least own a pair of cowboy boots.
Hell
you guys
no.
all wear cowboy boots down there, right? And hats.
I can't pull off a pair of cowboy boots.
Yeah, me neither. I don't get the appeal.
I enjoy hats, but I don't like cowboy hats. So
yeah,
because I'm really big on putting something on my head and then laying back. So like just a baseball cap is good because then you can always take a nap.
Yeah, my husband wears a cowboy hat when he's outside working in the summer just to keep the sun on his face. But
that makes sense.
I think it looks funny to me because we're in Minnesota and he's walking around. Although there are plenty of people in Minnesota. Well, there are so many people in Minnesota, and I'm sure it's not just Minnesota, that don't seem to understand history, and they think they live in the South, and they fly Confederate flags, and it's just, do you know anything? That's not the side we were on, but whatever. That's a whole off topic.
That's a different can of worms if we start talking about the Confederate flag.
Exactly, yeah. And what we actually wanted to talk about this time was mental illness. And so are you for or against mental illness? Where do you stand on this?
Am I pro? Well,
I'm pro mental illness or against mental
pretty sure. I thought you were asking, like, do you have it or do you not?
I'm kidding. I'm just fucking around.
I'm pro
I do. I mean,
mental health care.
Perfect.
I'm pro, acceptance and conversations, having conversations about mental health, for sure.
Well, and that's why I want to talk about it. I feel like, for me, it's something that's just been coming up a lot in my world, I guess. And
mine too.
There's so much stigma and, so much woo, too, behind it. Just, ideas people have about what can help and what can cure it. And people are well-meaning, but they just don't.
When everyone knows all you need is Jesus and you won't be depressed anymore.
Yeah. Just
seriously.
Jesus and positive thoughts.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers. And you'll be fine. I don't know why you're so sad still.
That's a very good point. Yeah, had you talked to me probably 15 years ago-ish, maybe. I used to be like that person that did not comprehend mental illness. Like, I wasn't mean about it. It was just more, people are on medications for everything now, and everybody just wants
pill popping. Everybody's
everything.
Overprescribed.
Everything's overprescribed, and if you're depressed, what do you have to be depressed about? Just stop being sad. Like, go take a walk.
Smell the flowers.
Yeah, there's so many good things in life. What the fuck is wrong with you? And I was that person.
I was like, when I was pregnant, I had hyperemesis with my kids, and so I was really sick.
Oh, me too.
And my mother-in-law told me to take a walk and go outside in fresh air. Some fresh air will get it. I'm like, oh, you do not. Yeah. I remember thinking, you do not understand. This is not just, I'm a little nauseated. This is like, I'm trying to stay out of the hospital.
Yeah, in fact, that's kind of where I was going to start with. My first personal experience with mental illness was when I was pregnant the first time, and I had the same thing where I was nauseous 24/7. Like, it was not morning sickness. It was,
it's different.
I physically can't eat. I was in the hospital because I had lost weight. Because
Me too. Yeah, I'd lose like 15 pounds, and they would hospitalize because my baby was not growing.
Yep. Yeah, I think I lost 25 pounds.
Me too. Yep.
And then I ended up gaining 50 by the end. So
exactly, because they get you better.
Eventually.
They get you all better. With I had the PICC lines and the, everything. Oh, yeah. It was super fun.
Yep. Yeah, I had that, and that was the first time that, I had this period where I just couldn't get out of bed. And it wasn't just that I was sick. It was like I could not find a reason to get out of bed. And the pregnancy for me, it was a wanted pregnancy. It was planned. I had been trying for a year to get pregnant. So it's not that I had conflicting feelings about the pregnancy. I literally couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't function.
You couldn't,
and I didn't
even
know what was wrong with me. Like, I couldn't even.
She couldn't even. Anything. She had her Uggs on. She had her Starbucks. Yeah. She could not even.
I remember just laying there thinking, what the fuck is going on? Like, why can't I get that I'm tired. And I actually started reading, what to
That's
expect.
That's what I started realizing, like, what was actually wrong with me when I would go to the doctor and get the diagnosis. And like, but, no one else I knew had this.
Yeah. And I always thought that, it turns out I would, aside from just being sick all the time, I was depressed.
Yeah.
And I actually went to my doctor.
That's really common when you have really bad morning sickness.
I said.
And you have a higher rate of having postpartum depression as well.
Well, and nobody talks about it during pregnancy. You hear about postpartum depression, and you think that's supposed to happen after you have the baby, right?
Yeah.
And so here I am in my first trimester. I'm like, why can't I function? And I didn't have any concept of what could be wrong with me and what. But yeah, I went to the doctor and I'm like, I've been reading and I think I might have depression. And he's like, yeah, I think you're probably right. And he put me on a prescription. It was the first time I'd been on anything for mental, and I was very nervous about it because you're pregnant and, and within you're afraid you don't want to risk hurting the baby. And I remember after about 2 weeks, just one day, it was the first time I'd left the house in several weeks, and we went to the county fair. My husband and I were walking around, and I just thought, I feel normal again. Like, I feel like me. And I went to my therapist and told her, I'm like, because I didn't know what to expect. I thought people on antidepressants ran around happy all the time. Like, that's the point, right? They make you super happy.
I wish, right?
I remember telling her, like, I'm not extra happy. I just feel like I did before. And she's like, well, yeah, that means they're working. That's the point. Like, you start to feel more like you did before. And ever since then, that was, 14 years ago. And I've been on antidepressants ever since then. Yeah. And it just keeps me feeling like me. I've had a few phases here and there where I've kind of, either the medication I've been on stopped working and I had to try a new one. Right,
you have to kind of mess around with it for a little bit. And
And you have to play with the dosages, but I just saw my psychiatrist. I only have to see her once a year now, and I just saw her a few weeks ago, and she said to me, I remember when you first came in, and you couldn't get out of bed, like you were just in the. I remember looking at you, and you just looked awful, and you were telling me about how you couldn't even get up to shower, and the worst part is you can't explain to people what that really feels like, unless they've been through it.
That's very true.
You're not just sad. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest feeling.
No, you're not. For me, when I've experienced severe depression, I overcompensate for it. Mm-hmm. I would go to my therapist and I would have like a full face of makeup on and I would be dolled up, and she would yell at me. Well, not yell at me, but sternly. Sternly talk to me and say,
stern talking to.
Your assignment for when I see you next week is to dress on the outside how you feel on the inside. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I can't do that because I felt awful. And I was trying to put this brave face in front. And it probably goes back to how I was raised because it's the appearance of, because I was raised Mormon. That's something we didn't also not cover. I was raised Mormon.
What?
And so I know it's shocking. And now
I did know this, but the listeners probably.
Well, that's why I'm saying it. I'm a dirty heathen atheist, and I say words like "fuck." I know it's so weird. So, but we were not allowed to be sad. We were not, to a certain extent. You have to be happy and joyful and present this image of calm and contentment, and you have to be just always, especially if you're a woman, you have to have this certain. This just image you have to portray all the time because we are told that we're God's children and we are every member is a missionary, so people are always watching you to learn from you and wonder what about you makes you different, what about you makes you special, and then they want to know, and then they'll find out the truth, which is, Mormonism. So it was ingrained. I can't even
imagine that pressure.
It was ingrained in me, and so even after leaving the church, when I left the church, and when I've been depressed, well, those also go hand in hand. When I was depressed when I left the church, I refused to have a bad hair day even when I went to the car line, because my entire school district is full of Mormons and they would see me every day. So I would want them to see me looking good and being happy and being better than them, almost
successful. And
I was dying inside, but I was. And so when my therapist told me that, she said, I want you to dress the way you feel on the inside. And so no makeup, my hair was dirty, and I literally rolled out of bed and threw on a sports bra or whatever, and I said, this is it. And she was like, good. How do you feel? And I said, I'm more comfortable. And she said, okay. And she said, that was my challenge for when I go to see her, is I have to dress the way I feel inside, because she knows that that's what I do. So
yeah, I never had that. See, I didn't have that kind of pressure. I did feel like, I did. I guess for me, it was like I didn't want people to worry about me too much. I knew my mom was worried, and I knew my husband was worried, and it's like I was thinking about how can I make sure they're not too worried about me. Like,
right. How will I not be a burden?
Exactly. Yeah, and it was. I would think to myself, I know that deep down I can get through this, and that eventually it will get better. And I know that somewhere deep down, even if I don't feel it. But how do I convey that to them, that I know eventually it'll get better? It's just not right now. And, over the years, I've had to it's hard because when I'm kind of going through an episode, I'll just get to the point where I can't, I just need to lay down and not do anything and not talk to anyone. And I'll just kind of have to tell my husband, I'm just not feeling good. I just need some time. I just need to be alone, and I need to be left, I can't have people around me. And I need to do that. And the good thing is having a support network when you have good friends and good family, and you can be open with them and tell them, I'm dealing with this right now. I'm not in a good spot.
Right. And being honest with
people
them
can
is
help,
also
and
important.
being honest. Yeah.
It's important.
And not trying to pretend like everything's fine, because
that's
everything's
the problem
not
I have.
fine.
Yes.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't want to.
Super great. Everything's super great. And then I get to the point where I crack because I've been holding everything in for, weeks or months or however long it's been going on. And then I'm just like, okay. And I just have a breakdown basically. And it's not, and it's a mental, and usually I have a physical breakdown too, where something goes wrong in my body. So I'm sick and I'm depressed, and, cause I have kidney issues. And so I'll get something goes wrong with my kidneys, and I have to go to the doctor for something in my kidneys. And that's usually where it goes. I hold all my stress in my kidneys for some reason. So.
Well, and I have Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disorder. So with me, it's, my intestines. Well, it's hard to explain Crohn's. It's super gross. You don't want to have it, but I'll be having stomach issues and just, my stomach hurts, and
you'll just be sick.
You just physically get weak, and you're just kind of sick. And then when you add the depression on top of that, and you're not eating, and it all feeds into each other, Yep. It is. It's a
downward spiral.
And when you have kids, it makes it harder because you're constantly thinking, God, I'm letting my kids down, and I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or I should be doing something with my kids, and I'm just laying here. And then you're in a guilty spiral where you feel guilty because you're just laying there. And that makes you feel worse, and then you're more depressed. And it's just I wish more people would talk openly about it, because you feel so much like you're the only person that's ever gone through this, and nobody will ever understand. And especially the medication thing, there's still so many people that are like I was, that are just judgmental about it. And, everybody wants to just take a pill to solve their problems. And no, I need a pill to maintain my peace of mind and to function as a person, to be able to get out of bed and go to work and lead a relatively fulfilling life. That's, to me, no different than the medications I'm on for my Crohn's disease. I need those. It's
exactly like
function.
if you need to take insulin, it's the same thing as your body is either it's not producing enough of or too much of a certain chemical, and you need a pill to get it functioning at the appropriate level. That's all it is. That's literally all it is.
There's nothing wrong with that, and it's not a moral failing. It's just our brains are complicated, and we're just now starting to figure out how complex they are and how to manage what's going on. And so I also have a child, a 13-year-old with severe anxiety.
Yes.
So when we were dealing with his,
we've talked about this as well.
Yeah.
I do too.
It's so hard as a parent, especially when you make that leap to putting your kid on medication, that is as much stigma as I feel like there is just for people on meds. I feel like there's even more stigma for parents who put their kids on medication.
Yes, because you feel like you're almost failing.
You feel like you're failing as a parent, and there's something you should be doing better that you're not.
Right.
And
you didn't give them the appropriate tools that they needed in order to handle life. Why are they so stressed out about homework? This is not something that's a big deal.
Exactly.
But then I cry over laundry, so I can't really say anything.
Yeah, and I feel like people look at it like you're just taking the easy way out. You're just medicating your kid because that's easier for you. And that's not the case.
No, it's the last resort because it's actually
really is.
To make it easier for them.
Yeah. It's to the point, I know with our son, he had been in therapy for a full year, where he would go every week, and he was making no progress at all. None. Like, nothing was helping. And I finally had his therapist just look at me and say, he's suffering and you need to try medication because he needs it, and he's not going to be able to get anything out of therapy until he can kind of take the edge off in his brain. It's too much for him, and you need to try it. And so we were reluctant because I still kind of in the back of my mind had that feeling like everybody just over-medicates their kids, and, I don't want to rush to... And you have all of your friends and family weighing in, and are you sure you want to do that? He's still growing.
It messes with their brain chemicals.
It messes with their brain chemistry.
They can't go off of it easily. Yeah. They can't just stop cold turkey. Well, yeah, duh.
Yep. And their brains are still forming, and you don't know what could happen, and it's a big step, and all this stuff that, no shit, I've thought all of this before.
That's why we've been doing this. We've been going over this for so long.
That's why we've been in therapy for a full year, and
that's not cheap.
No, and you have so many well-meaning people that are, well, have you tried essential oils? If you try lavender oil, that can be relaxing.
You really should have tried essential oils, though.
I really should. Then we wouldn't have had to go right to the
Damn it, Amy! What did you do?
I bet it would have been cheaper too.
Probably. No, I don't know. Have you priced out those oils? I'm kicking myself
now. I know, right?
They are so fucking expensive.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if you've gotten that shit.
I was Mormon. Yeah, but of course, I have the brochure in my drawer.
That's right.
It is hilarious. Oh yeah, it's hilarious to me because there's a cancer section, and there's a section where you make your own pills and insert it, and it gives a list of places that you can put it.
Fun.
In detail. And I read that. I was like, I handed it over to a friend. I was like, just wait for it. It'll jump out at you. And she read it. She's like, holy shit. I'm like, there it is.
Oh, my God. The cure to cancer was there the whole time, and none of us knew. It's amazing. I know with my kid, so much, especially with anxiety, so much of it can be looked at like, well, you're just not disciplining him correctly, or you need to just be harder on him, or he needs to tough it out.
You're too easy. You're too easy on your kids. You let them walk all over you.
Yes.
No.
You need to give them tough love. You need to implement some tough... I got told that by his school counselor. You need to implement some tough love. Mm-hmm. And it was just it just crushed me because I thought, you don't see my child at 5 a.m. every single day. Having a panic attack, hyperventilating, begging me to take him to the hospital because he's sure he's dying. That is not normal childhood. I don't want to go to school. Yeah. But they don't see that. They're not with them all the time. And so, and your kids a lot of time will do that stuff they're safe when they're around you.
Right.
So he'll do it around me, but when it's around other people, he tries so much harder to control it and to not cry and to not,
We have sobbing fits in the car. That's what we have. Like when I pick them up from school, it's a sobbing fit. And my youngest is 7, and she's been getting in the car and high-pitched shrieking, like a velociraptor. I think I said that word right. Pretty sure I did.
Oh, my God.
Like high-pitched velociraptor. A high-pitched shrieking. And I have to drive to 2 other schools because she's the youngest, and I have to go pick up the others. So it's just high-pitched shrieking the entire way, and then it's sobbing, and then it's shrieking, and then she starts kicking the back of my chair in my head, and I'm about to lose my shit. And
it's just heart-wrenching, too. It's
so I finally asked her, I'm like, what is going on with you? And we're going through a lot of things in our lives right now, but I'll be like, what is happening? Did you have a hard day at school? And she'll list off some girl drama. Madison didn't talk to me. Riley said this, or Abby wasn't at school today, whatever it is. She'll start listing off girl drama, and then she'll say, I don't know how to control my anger. And she'll just, I'm like, well, I will make an appointment for you, because all my kids see therapists. So I'm like, well, I'll make an appointment for you, and I will help you get the tools in order to do that. Yeah. And she said, thank you. This was yesterday, and then she shrieked again today. Wow. Oh, and so I'm like, let's figure this out, and let's take care of this. And it took a while for her to get to that point where she told me, honestly, I just don't know how to control my anger. I don't think it's depression in her case. Hers is ADHD. I'm pretty sure it's ADHD, and I don't know at what point. I'm at the point where I'm ready to pursue the medication route, but I don't know at what age they can start diagnosing.
We have a 7-year-old, a boy, who's been diagnosed with ADHD.
She has too. I mean, to a certain extent, but I don't know when they can start.
They can start medicating now. Here's the conundrum we're kind of in. So with my younger son, that was a diagnosis I had been waiting for since he was in utero.
Pretty much her too.
Cannot sit still. He just can't. He's that kid that's just running around the room constantly.
He would get along with Charlie just fine.
Oh yeah. It's his little mind is running at top speed at all times. And so I kind of had ignored it, because it didn't cause any when they're little, they're easier. They're little, yeah. He just played a lot. Yeah. And he was doing okay in school. Like I kept an eye on it, and I communicated with his teachers, but it was at the end of last year, at the end of first grade, when his teacher kind of took me aside, and she was just an awesome teacher, and she basically said, have you ever thought about maybe seeing if you could have an evaluation? Like, she was trying so hard not to hurt my feelings, and like, have you ever thought about ADHD? And I just told her, I've been thinking about that since he was born, and I've been waiting for a teacher to bring it up, so don't feel bad. I'm like, trust me, I had just been kind of ignoring it until I couldn't anymore. And
right, that's where I've been with her.
Yeah, so we did the evaluation. The teacher filled one out, and we filled one out. We went and saw the doctor, and so they diagnosed him, but we haven't done anything yet. And part of that is, because you don't want to jump to meds right away.
Exactly.
You feel like, okay,
I've been giving her coffee and trying to see if that has an effect on her, because I know that it
I haven't tried that yet. Yeah. No, I planned, excuse me, my first plan was to take him to therapy, because my older son had seen a really good child therapist in town, and I thought, okay, I could take him to therapy, and he could learn some skills to,
coping skills.
But then I thought, this kid it's not like my older son, where he was clearly suffering and miserable. My younger son, it's a little different. Like, he is happy all the time. He just cannot focus at all, but he's not suffering. He's just, when he's at school, he can't sit and focus on an assignment, so he can't get them done. So he gets homework sent home, and it leads to stuff like that. Whereas, on the weekends, okay, before bed, we have him run up and down the hall 50 times and, do stuff like that. And it's manageable, and he's still happy. So we've kind of been, I thought, God, I don't want to take this kid to therapy every single week for something that I just don't think, because he's the kind of kid that tries very, very hard on his own to manage it. Like, he'll tell you I'm getting distracted. And his teacher has even said he'll come up with things in the classroom on his own. Like if he knows he's getting distracted, he'll get up and move to a different table. Or he'll, she's like, we see him trying to manage it on his own. And that's not something I ever saw with my older son. He never, it was like pulling teeth to get him to do any of the stuff that, Yeah. So I kind of felt like, okay, maybe he can kind of manage. And we talk about it and how he gets distracted and we work on different techniques. But I'm not convinced therapy would help him because he's been trying all of this stuff. We've been trying meditation and he'll do that sometimes. But I want to try.
Maybe just keep an eye on it, Well,
and that's what we've been doing. And I've been reading up on ADHD meds. Because
then if you need it, the therapist is there. You don't have to just do it.
And the doctor, his regular doctor has said, I can prescribe something at a low dose. We can try it. And I guess with ADHD meds, it's not like it is with antidepressants because our older son's on an antidepressant. And so with those, you don't see an effect for a few weeks. You can't just stop taking them. It's long term. ADHD meds are like a short-acting medication that you don't have to take all of the time. And I didn't realize that before. No, it's not something you take every single day. It's an as-needed medication. So there are parents who only give it to their kids at school when they're on school days, and they'll just let them go the whole weekend without it. And I've got friends who are adults with ADHD.
I might be the parent that does it the other way because it does not affect her at school. It only affects her at home. Because at home she doesn't have the structure and she doesn't have she doesn't know what she's it's more freeform, and so she doesn't know what to do with herself, and so she just kind of runs everywhere and ends up just like hitting her brothers or jumping on the furniture or shrieking like a dinosaur.
If she's doing good in school.
She's doing great in school.
To me, my only concern is school because he's still doing okay. Like he's not.
She gets in the car. I'm like, here's your pill. Don't scream at me.
Yeah, no, he's fine when he's not at school. He's still a little ball of energy, but he's not a problem kid. He's not yelling at us or getting angry, or he's just full of constant fucking energy and never sits still.
It's a new addition that it's almost a problem.
And it's hard because once you've gone through it with one kid, and and kids are so different that it's like what I'm seeing with my younger son is totally different than what I saw with my older son.
Absolutely.
They're two completely different people, which
is super rude.
I thought that's weird.
It's really rude though because you had the same ingredients, you'd put the same energy and effort into them, and then they turn out completely different.
Same environment. I did the same things while I was pregnant.
Can't really repeat that test. You can't. It's pretty rude.
We had one kid and he was fantastic as a toddler, and we thought this is easy, and then we had the second one and went, what the fuck?
Mine was the other way around. My oldest was he was a hard baby because he was colicky and he was allergic.
That was my second one.
All kinds of stuff. And my second one loved sleep. He was sleeping through the night by 6 weeks old or something, and then he would ask to go to nap. He was like, "Can I take a nap?" When he was like 3 years old. 3 years old. He's like, "Can I nap?" And then my third kid, my daughter, broke the mold completely. She was insanely hard. And I was older when I had her because she was a surprise baby. So she's 5 years younger than her nearest sibling, and it just she's worn me out from the moment she was born. Because I'm pushing 40 and I have a 7-year-old, and it's not
keep
easy.
rubbing in that you're not 40 yet, Amy. Keep rubbing that in.
I'm pushing it.
I'm 40 and you're not, I'm already
nearing it. I can see it from where I'm at. It's a little on the horizon, but it's not. It's there.
You're still a baby. You're just a baby.
Tell that to my joints when I stand up and everything pops and falls into place.
I know, right?
I'm like, wait, I can't walk yet. My foot's asleep. Hold on.
That's been happening to me a lot lately. Like, why are my limbs constantly falling asleep?
I'm just convinced that's how I'm going to die. Like, I'll sit in a chair too long, or, God forbid, the toilet or something, and I stand up, and my foot's completely asleep, so I'm going to fall and crack my head open. That will be how I die. Someone is going to have to write down that incident, the incident report of how I was found and how I died. So
it'll be a fun day for them, though. It'll be something interesting that they'll get to do. So
they'll be like, pants around her ankles, head cracked open on the bathroom tile.
So moral of the story is take your medications.
Take your fucking medications. Don't pray your sad away.
Don't pray your numb foot away. That doesn't help.
It doesn't do anything. You have to stand and wait for the blood to flow. I'm like, why aren't you working? Why aren't you flowing?
Yeah, I feel, I don't know about you, but I feel like a constant failure as a parent.
Always?
Like, just constantly. That's my constant state, is I'm doing this all wrong. And everybody can reassure me that I'm a great mom, but I'm sure I'm not. Like, and the whole having a kid with a mental illness thing, like, it's just
really hard. And it makes you feel like you're failing as a parent.
It really does. Like, I think, what if, and then you go back to what if I did something when I was pregnant and that's why this happened? Or what if it's because I went on medication when I was pregnant? Or what if I did something the wrong way when he was a baby? What if I wasn't...
I didn't do the baby Einsteins enough, or I didn't play Beethoven to my pregnant stomach as I was throwing up every 5 minutes.
Or I didn't do enough enriching activities with him when he was a toddler. And, because... Yeah, with the oldest one, we didn't really notice anything was wrong until 2nd or 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. And he had been such a good baby and toddler. Like, and I look back on it now and I think that he was such a careful toddler. Like, you would tell him, don't touch that. You'll get hurt. He would never do it again.
That's my anxious kid too. He was a really chill toddler, and he was so...
He was, yeah.
I would look at him. I never had to say no or don't touch or careful. I would just look at him, and I would just have like a certain look, and he would stop.
Just stop, yeah.
And look at me, and I had to be really careful about the tone I used and the face I made. I had to keep my face very neutral or cheerful, otherwise he'd cry.
Yeah.
And so now he's very anxious, and so I wonder if it's always been part of his brain.
Yeah. Well, and when he was a baby, we just thought, at the time we thought we were just such excellent parents because we had the most well-behaved child. We would go out to restaurants and people would compliment us.
And you're like, we win.
We actually had people come up to our table and go, your baby's so well-behaved. And we'd be like, we know. We're so good at this. Like, what the fuck?
I never had that.
We had, and with our second kid, we just don't go to restaurants anymore.
Yeah, I never had that, because if I would go out in public, I would end up, crying in the car or taking someone to a timeout.
Yeah, no, the second one, we just gave up on restaurants because he would just get up and wander and run and be that kid. Whereas with the oldest one, he would sit in his chair. We took him to a movie for the first time when he was 2, and he sat through the whole thing.
Oh,
he would, and we never had to baby-proof.
Do that.
Yeah, no, I took mine to the movies on Monday, and he could not sit still through the whole thing. But
we took her to My Little Pony a couple weeks ago, and she laid down in the chair, like in the seat part, spread her legs out, so like into a full splits, and she was kicking me and her babysitter that I brought with us in the faces as she was watching the movie.
Ooh, fun. Mine was, I went with a friend of mine who has a son the same age. Fun. And her son is like a little genius, like for real, like, he's in all the advanced gifted programs. He's the smartest fucking kid on the planet. He's just he's got the glasses, and he's
probably adorable.
He'll come up to you and go, do you know what thermodynamics is? Or just like, he's just a fucking smart kid, and he's very chill and relaxed. And whereas my kid is the total opposite. But so we went to the movies with him, and of course her kid is sitting nicely in his chair, and mine is just rocking back and forth and rocking and rocking and kicking and rocking and kicking and rocking and going, is the movie over yet? I want to go play video games. Is the movie over? Like, oh my God, this is why we don't go anywhere with you.
Like, this is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't do anything, because
this is why I can't go anywhere.
It's a hassle. That's
why I used to do just drives to nap. Because they were contained. Everything was they were strapped in.
Yeah. Well, and my little one, when he was, the older one, when he was a baby, he would lay on my chest for hours and just nap and snuggle and just be, and the younger one,
nope.
From the second he was born, he was fidgeting, just would not, like, you'd try to swaddle him and he would just be punching, like, let my arms go. I don't want to be swaddled.
That's my daughter now, and she refused to nap. She reached a point, and oldest and my second oldest, or my boys, they're my two boys, they took naps right up until kindergarten, pretty much. Even if they were short little naps, they took naps right up until kindergarten. She was like 14 months old, decided she didn't need them anymore, and she just stopped napping. It was a 45-minute fight for a 30-minute nap. And so I did the cost-benefit analysis of those two categories. I'm like, it's not worth it for me to fight this monster in order to get 30 minutes of quiet time when I can just,
I can't even remember. I don't remember how old mine was when he quit napping because it was so long ago. I can't even. It was the same thing where it got to a point like I don't. And
memory's one of the first things to go. I've heard
it really is. Yeah, I'm getting up there and I have zero memory left. I won't remember any of this recording in about 5 minutes. So.
Well, good thing we have it on recording.
Speaking of which, we should probably try to wrap it up because my 7-year-old is getting ready for his bedtime routine, and it's going to be a whole thing if we don't do it the exact right way. And
we'll talk about it another time. Why there aren't so many women podcasters?
Exactly.
Because we have all this shit to do.
A few too many demands on our time. We're fucking busy. Unlike Tom and Cecil, who just sit around podcasts all fucking day. They probably just nap with
their microphones hanging out of their mouths. I don't know. I don't know their lives.
That's what they do. I bet they just, that's all they have to do is they drink beer and podcast and
I'm going to try to nap with my mic in my mouth.
Good idea. I can't nap. It's impossible.
I try. I talk big game about napping, and then I lay there for a minute, and then I start I get fidgety because I also have ADD. So and then I get fidgety, and then I have to get up, and then I have to go do things. Like today, I was packing. So I'm going on a trip this weekend, so I'm packing for things and running around, and I'm Googling the ounce sizes, and then I'm looking up all my makeup containers to find out which ones meet the ounce sizes, and I ran to Target and got the little containers that I can put my shampoo and conditioner in, because hotel shampoo sucks. So, all this stuff, so I'm like, it's
ever since my kid was diagnosed, in the back of my head, I've been like, maybe this is what's wrong with me. I can't single task. I have to multitask. I can't either.
I watch TV and I have to be doing something.
Yeah, I watch a lot of fucking TV. When I'm at home, I'm watching TV, but I'm also doing 5 other things.
Me too. Well, I work from home, so I watch TV
I don't anymore.
And I watch TV and I craft, and I watch TV,
I mainly watch TV and craft.
And I listen to podcasts as I do dishes, or, I have to be doing something. I have to keep my brain going in different directions.
Yeah, I do podcasts at work, so I'll be, I own a little shop, and when there's nobody in there, I'm just listening to podcasts and doing 5 different things there, and I just can't. And I think back, and I'm like, have I always been like this?
I have. I remember my teachers criticizing me because I would start coloring a picture, and I would start in the right corner, and then I would stop and jump over and color the top left corner, and then I'd color in the middle,
I do that too.
I would not color uniformly, and then I would fix it, and I would fill it in, and I'd add shading and stuff, but that's how I remember teachers saying, I've never seen anyone color like that before. I'm like, I never thought anything of it, because that's just how I do. So
I think we're the same person. The more I think about it, oh my god, I can't.
Terrifying.
I make stuff at work, but I can't just sit and do a project. I've got to have 5 different ones going, and when I kind of hit a wall with one, I'll just move on to the next one and come back to the second one. And it's just.
And my job is a lot of puzzles.
Chaos. Yeah,
my job is puzzles. Not literally puzzles, but I work
metaphorical puzzles.
Right, because I do insurance stuff, so it's insurance snarls and puzzles, and why is this not going through, and why was this claim rejected, or whatever, and so it keeps me.
So you get to go down rabbit holes and figure things out.
I'll spend an hour and a half, with Blue Cross Blue Shield on the same patient, on the same it's not the same phone call. I've been transferred 7 times or whatever, but I will get to the bottom. The doctors that I work with will send me a text, and they know that if they send me this information, it will get solved because I will not let go of it until it is solved. So
I think what we've learned tonight is that we're both riddled with mental illness.
And we're crazy. And that's that word. I'm taking it back. I'm
Yeah, I can't get rid of that one. I mean, I get it, and I get why people find it ableist and people don't like it, but it's one of my favorite words.
I'm describing myself.
I was going to say, are we allowed to say? I feel like I have a mental illness, so I'm allowed to use it, right? At least if I'm just talking about myself, because I feel crazy.
I mean, I'm also a redhead, and I call myself a ginger, but I don't think that's the same thing.
I don't know. Ginger too, so my mom's a redhead, and I just explained to my mom like a year ago what ginger means because she had never heard it before, and she's a redhead. She grew up. I don't understand how you can get through your whole life as a redhead and have never heard the term ginger. But
I'm a redhead. Yeah, me too. I'm a redhead. So
anyway,
crap! I've given so much information. Though. Maybe we shouldn't share so much information about. I'm gonna get stalked.
We're both real catches, we're crazy and have lots of children and baggage, so yeah. And we're back from my internet dying. I have no idea what the fuck just happened, but I was talking into space and telling Amy something really amusing and fantastic, and then she was just gone, and we're old and don't understand computers. So, we're just recording a little final part of this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Do you have any final thoughts, Amy, with an I?
I am actually coughing.
Oh, no.
Okay,
well, Amy's coughing to death, so if you want to keep up with our podcast, which we will hopefully be recording on a regular schedule, depending on what the fuck happens with life and kids and all that shit, you can find us on Facebook at Secular Soup. I took the 5 minutes to set up a Gmail account at some point. I believe.
Send us money.
Yeah, send us money through that email. I think.
See, I survived this time.
I don't. Yeah.
To ask for money. So maybe I'm not going to die by my foot falling asleep. Maybe I'm going to die because I'm just going to randomly cough for no reason.
While you're podcasting. We at least have to get that recorded so we can have it for posterity. So at least try to do it while you're podcasting. That would be great.
That would be just super duper. Do that.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure our email is secularsouppodcast@gmail.com. But you know what? You can find it if you just go to Facebook at Secular Soup. And if you're not on Facebook, there's something wrong with you. So
we have a super happening page.
Yeah. We got like 50 people on there, and I only know 49 of them. So things are looking up.
I think I sent it to some people. I'm not sure. But I think we know a lot of the same people, so.
I think so too. I think it's 49 people we all both know. So.
We all both of us.
All both of us. It's late, and I tired brain, no work no more. So
see, this is just when I get my second wind. I'm ready to go record 4 more podcasts now.
This is when I need my solid 12 hours of sleep before I can function again. So
I'm one of those weird people, ADD. I stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I wake up at 7:30. And
I don't. When I'm awake, my brain is all over the place, but I sleep a fucking lot. I need a lot of sleep.
I wish I could sleep. I lay in bed just angry that I can't.
Well,
but I read a lot of books. I read a whole lot of books.
I actually have medication that helps me sleep.
Well, I do too. I just don't take it.
Yeah, I take mine because I need that fucking sleep. So.
Yeah.
I take it because I really, but I've had to enforce a no more staring at my phone past like 8 o'clock rule because I will be on that phone all night looking at Facebook and talking, and that I noticed keeps me wired.
It
so
does.
I'm like, nope, I force myself to put the phone down. And
then you get in a fight, you're like, oh, hell no, Uncle Bob. I don't think so.
I'm like, I need to finish this. I gotta
no, we have to fight about this.
I know.
Comments. No, we have
important. To. Yeah, people get really tired of me going, I'm not being rude, I'm listening. I really need to finish this comment on Facebook because I really need to put this person in their place. So
I don't understand how important it is that we talk about these.
They're going to think that I'm not paying attention, and I really have a good comeback. So let me just...
And send. Okay, now I will pay attention to you. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Grandpa.
Now, what do you want, kids? Just leave the alone. Anyway. All right, so that was an episode.
That's where you can find us.
That's
and
where
we're
you can find
amazing.
Secular Soup. We're the best. Cognitive dissonance is the worst.
Like if there's a scale of 1 to 10, whichever one is the top one. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how the scale works, 10. But I just made up. I'm pretty sure it's 10 too.
I mean, on the pain scale, 10 is the worst you can have. So maybe
and if you say someone is a 10, then that means they're the
true.
smoking bod, which we also are.
So we're the 10, and Tom and Cecil
in every single way. So, yeah.
Just so we cleared that up. All right.
You're welcome. You're welcome, world. Now we've told you, so now you know.
It was fun chatting with you again and fucking up my internet connection and being too old to understand how Skype works. I feel like we should give a shout out to Marissa Alexa McCool, who is helping us out with this podcast, who is the best, who we literally could not do this without because we don't know what we're doing.
Silent, amazing sound person.
She is our guardian angel, if we believe in such a thing.
Well, I do, because I've seen her.
Oh, well, that's true. I've met her, for real. So.
I know, you bitch.
I know. That one time, it was awesome. We had pancakes, and I'm just going to brag about it. If you want to know more about her, she runs the Transvisibility Podcast Network, which I'm sure you can also find on the Facebooks. I don't have the actual info in front of me, but...
We will by the next episode. We will have all her info.
We'll get all of our shit together by the next episode. And
will we though?
Written down.
Will we? Like honestly,
have notes.
Like I've met us.
Yeah, no, we're not going to have our shit.
And we will Google Doc the shit out of everything, and then not stick to any of it.
No,
I'm just saying. I've met us.
You know what though? We have a Google Doc.
We do.
The right direction. It's there.
Oh my gosh! If I can remember how to log into it regularly,
it's right there. And we can find it if we want to. We just don't have time.
I have a lot of confidence in my ability to find a Google Doc.
So, yeah. All right. Well,
there we go. This is what we do. This is our show.
This is our life. This is us. If you like us or don't like us, it doesn't matter to me.
I don't care if you don't like me.
You cannot like us. That's fine. We're fucking awesome, and you're not. So,
let's go listen.
Fuck right off. And America, if America, not the country, but the person America is listening to this, you are awesome. And
she's going to be on the show at some point because we love her.
She's got to be on the show, but I had to give her a shout out too because we gave her a shout out in one of our multiple test recordings that we didn't release, and now she's not going to get to hear it. So I'm doing it again.
We'll just shout out to her all the time. We're like, hey, America.
Anyone who doesn't know America needs to know America. She's the good America. The country is the bad one. So now that I've said something controversial.
She doesn't have Trump inside of her. Wait. Whoa.
She might. I don't know what she's doing tonight. I'm just
holy shit. Okay.
All right. Well,
okay.
Thank
you. Talking about Trump, it's time to go.
We could do this all night. We have ADHD. So, all right. I will talk to you the next time we get our shit together.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening. There are other people out there listening, I think. So thank you for listening. Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.
It's time to shop hundreds of specials at Macy's, plus thousands of new markdowns in-store and online. Shop incredible specials like our fine jewelry clearance 65% off. Sandals for her 50% off. Save 60% on pillows and comforters. And Junior's dresses, rompers, and more are just $16.99 to $19.99. Or save 10 to 20% with your Macy's Carter Savings Pass. It's time to shop through June 25th at Macy's. Extra savings exclude specials. Savings off sale prices. Exclusions apply.